U.S. judge strikes down Biden administration ban on worker non-compete agreements. Trump appointee says that Biden's non-compete ban is illegal, and wants to make sure that companies can lay you off and force you to not have a job in the field you're trained in. F these judges. This decision was probably purchased on clearance, too. I feel like non-compete clauses are an infringement on our freedom to associate with other businesses. People are not trusted to not share trade secrets, yet businesses are trusted to not lose our personal information? A judge in Texas says it all. Of fucking goddamn course it's a dump judge. Get all those pro-corpo rats out of there. It's we the people, not them the corpo. I forget if it was Kroger or Walmart that told me while I work there I'm not allowed to take a second job with a rival. Like I'm going to go work at Walmart during the day and then at night I'll sabotage Kroger by switching the peas and the carrots on the shelf. I assume a huge tip will come this judge's way after this ruling. What? Why? The Biden administration is totally right here. That's weird they aren't enforceable in California already and the world didn't end. Government of, by, and for the corporation. F them. Keeping the people under control and underemployed. Okay, decision is out. Time for this judge's gratuity. Remember folks, a bribe is only a bribe if the money moves first. Afterwards it's a gratuity. People need to start growing a spine. If you're confronted with a restrictive NDA or non-compete, tell them to shove it right up their asses. Make them fire you, and then post everywhere naming names, and warning others against applying to work there. If enough people do so, companies will realize that the risk of losing people they've already invested in isn't worth it, nor is the bad press and further difficulty hiring. Standing up is literally the only power we have. They're arguing the ban is currently too broad and then when it gets trimmed down it'll be too narrow in scope. Let me off the bus, y'all. Once again, a Trump-appointed POS voting against anything that would help the people. Guess it's time to impeach some judges. Yeah. That motherfucker's federal judge appointees are going to fuck us for a long time. Please don't vote for that fucker again this year. Capitalism requires laws that protect the wealthy but do not bind them and bind the poor but do not protect them. I had an asshole boss that tried to make us sign a non-compete. He owned bars. Like you're that but hurt that you want to prevent former employees from bartending elsewhere. It wouldn't have held up anyway. I don't know what trade secrets he felt he had ownership of. I suggest violence. Of course it was the Fifth Circuit. I didn't even need to look. LOL. The plutocracy is all too obvious. He is a district court judge. Very little real power, easily challenged. I just declined a job offer 2 weeks ago, as it had a non-compete agreement. Should I have been separated from my employment for any reason, I would not be able to work for a competitor for 18 months. Y'all can go shit and fall back in it. Another day, another Trump stooge screwing over working Americans. Of course it's a judge in Texas. Texas thinks non-compete agreements are a good thing. I worked for a company that was headquartered in Texas once. HR loved their non-compete agreements. Fortunately, it wasn't enforceable in the state I worked in. I thought Republicans were big on right to work. It is disappointing that the conservative judiciary seems to have just removed any sense of balance or judicial restraint. It is pure activism again and again. This is horrible. I understand some of y'all hate politics, but politics don't care. Elections have consequences. Go out and vote. How about we lay the judge off and not allow him to work as a lawyer? These aren't judges, they are political operatives. The supremely corrupt courts of the United States. What the fuck with these judges? I have lost all trust on judiciary. They don't want free market capitalism. They want workers to have no other options. They want slavery. Brown in her ruling said that even if the FTC had the power to adopt the rule, the agency had not justified banning virtually all non-compete agreements. It seems like the judge is acknowledging the FTC's legal authority but is blocking the rule on questionable grounds rather than a solid legal basis. This doesn't seem very judge-like, but it's hardly surprising coming from a Trump appointee. Vote blue, all the way down the ballot. Can't have for more years of judges like this being appointed. Vote blue in November. Please vote everyone. Well then. If that's how they want to play. When these judges want to move to the next job, we should be bringing this up and denying them that job. A federal judge in Texas didn't need to read more than that to agree with folks here on FUCK those judges. This is what they mean when they say deep state. It's literally federal agencies they don't like. You know, like the NLRB and OSHA that protect worker rights and worker safety. They want to remove any kind of accountability and oversight from business so that the billionaire class can dry fuck everyone in the ass with no consequences. I say screw that judge and just ignore the ruling. These right-wing judges need to be put in their place. Non-compete clauses can be important in some industries, but when McDonald's says you can't work for Burger King or Subway, it's gone too far. These clauses should be rare and specific and justifiable. As it is now, corporations can cruelly put these into employees' contracts to prevent them from moving on for their own benefit. Remember, it's only fair market capitalism if it benefits the employer s. Wow, fuck that guy in particular. Why does a Texas judge get to decide that for the rest of the country? Who TF cares what they think? Sounds like something for Congress to fix after the upcoming blue wave. Al Franken said there are laws Congress has to pass to eliminate non-competes. It can't happen because Congress critters work for their donors instead of their constituents. I had to sign one as an electrician. They are essentially non-enforceable in Maryland anyway. There's no trade secrets to take with you that anyone else doesn't already know, and trying to say that I can't work for a current customer at a lower price is anti-competitive. I stopped believing in NCAs when Jimmy John's actually sued one of its employees for going to work for a competitor. LOL. This is another reason why I'll never vote for Republicans. Scumbags. I thought the judiciary couldn't override official acts anymore. Biden should make it an official act. The Commission's lack of evidence as to why they chose to impose such a sweeping prohibition, instead of targeting specific, harmful non-competes, renders the rule arbitrary and capricious, wrote Brown, an appointee of Republican former President Donald Trump. WTF? So, because it's a general rule against a behavior it's arbitrary? Isn't arbitrary capricious more likely to be ruled when it's specific cases? Is anybody shocked by this? The systems are rigged against us. The haves want, and have no interest in others having it as well. Protecting workers' rights is arbitrary. Asshole judge will be corrected. When are we gonna start removing traitor judges? Anyone appointed by Trump is at a minimum guilty of perjury. Americans WTF? Our government can't do anything right, also Americans may. It doesn't matter who gets elected. I'm not voting. I don't get how you people just bend over and take it, every single time. That judge should get fired and blacklisted from the CJ field, both intentionally and ironically. LOL, how are they going to enforce a non-compete clause? I know where their office is.